Cocaine Bear is one of those high concept screenplays that you can sell easily. It's basically about a bear on cocaine. And this one in concept works. An endangered black bear is in the forest minding her business when a cocaine blizzard showers her habitat. After consuming a kilo or 10, she goes on a rampage, mauling every human in her path to satisfy her fix. Very simple and easy to visualize. But in execution, it fails. Elizabeth Banks' directing style of allowing the humor to linger long enough as if those long beats were placeholders for a laugh track was a little awkward for me. There are really long, silent beats to allow the audience to laugh. And again, it just felt like a placeholder for a laugh track on what wasn't buttoned up comedy. The time and setting weren't properly conveyed either. It was a little confusing because the wardrobe and props revealed that it was set in the 80s. They're 80s clunkers, 80s clothes. The setting was 80s. The true story was set in the 80s. But then the characters had smartphones. The CGI of the black bear was captured beautifully with realism. This bear looked real and was very threatening and intimidating. That's what I think the movie has going for it the most, the CGI. But the cinematography overall looked very digital. This is supposed to be set in the 80s, and there was just this digital texture overall. Cocaine Bear is slow paced, especially in the first half, and full of scene fillers. Much of the story beats are unnecessary time wasters. For a graphic slasher film with no protagonist, we didn't really need the character building of any of these characters. We don't really want anyone to survive a slasher film. So we really didn't need to know much about Kerry Russell's character, O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, or Alan Einreich's character. His is an arc that is purposely mawkish to the point that it's an over-exaggeration of who the essence of his character should be. Since he has so much screen time, he was mawkish to make us root for him. Again, we don't want anyone to survive a slasher film, so why do we care? And he's also the part of the reason this bear gained access to the drugs. So giving his character this grief-stricken arc weakened the story for me. The only one to root for in this film is the coked up bear. Unfortunately, there is a lot of nothingness going on in the story that highlights how weak Jimmy Warden's script is. Too much walking through the forest to get from point A to point B just felt like a waste of time and a waste of an opportunity to add better action sequences. It wasn't paced well enough or humorous enough for my taste to take a journey with these characters for so long. Much of this journey obviously it takes place in this forest, and there's a lot of walking, which just felt like it dragged the story on longer than necessary. So Kerry Russell's character is a single mom raising her daughter, and her daughter has a best friend. Well, Kerry Russell's character is a nurse. She goes off to work expecting these kids to go to school. Well, they skip school and go into the forest and get lost. Well, once Kerry Russell's character realizes that these kids are missing, she goes into the forest after them, first stopping by the ranger's office, the park ranger's office, where she finds Margot Martindale's character and Jesse Tyler Ferguson's character. They get together on the hunt for these kids. A lot of the action is dead action, going in looking for everyone else. And I get that the point is to get everybody to the forest so that the bear can slash them. But a lot of this journey just takes too long. So you have a sheriff played by Isaiah Whitlock Jr., who is on the hunt to track down the drug dealers who are going to this forest to collect what's left of their contraband. And you have Ray Liotta's character, who's a drug lord, who's going to send his men into his son and his lieutenant into the forest to collect what's left of the contraband so he can pay the people he owes. And you have the kids who skip school going to the forest unsuspecting that there's a rabid bear basically in the woods. And you have Margot Martindale, the park ranger, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson. They're going in there with Kerry Russell's character to help find these kids. Then you have two tourists who are in the park taking photographs and find the bear, and the bear attacks them. So the point is to get everyone into the park so that the bear has someone to attack. I get it. It's just the journey getting them to this central point. It just didn't feel like an interesting enough story. But you had to, I understand, get everyone to descend on this park so that we can get to the slashing. It just takes so long to get there. They marketed this film and did a really great job marketing this film on this big ambulance set piece that really, really does work. Most of it is given away in the trailer, but there are other pieces to it that really lead up to build the tension that I think is great. That scene sold the movie, and it's a really good scene. But a lot of it is just scene feeling that it just weakens the story overall. The viral marketing campaign for this film is unmatched, and it will pique your interest enough to want to see it opening weekend. But again, the best sequences of the film are in the trailer. It's very spoiler heavy. I don't think, though, that the marketing campaign, the viral marketing, will be enough to save this film throughout March. Once it gets out that this film is a little too gimmicky and empty of substance. So what works? Margot Martindale, the kids, Christian Convery and Brooklyn Prince, the black bear, of course, and, well, the cocaine. The best scenes involve them. Now, Isaiah Whitlock did have great comedic timing, but not a lot to do. He was given a prop, though, in the form of a lap dog, this beautiful dog he had just adopted, he was growing to love. I call this a prop because this was to justify the cruelty of the bears at the hands of the humans. So they wanted to show that there was somebody good in this film other than the bears. That's also Jesse Tyler Ferguson's role in this film. He was there to humanize the humans because this bear's life was destroyed at the hands of humans, but it was somewhat of a futile exercise. He does have some funny moments in his short stint in the film and is almost unrecognizable in hair and makeup. It was also nice to see the late great Ray Liotta back in his element, the character that we loved him to play, a drug because he played them up so well. Now, he doesn't have a lot to do in this film either, but he does what he can to make the role memorable for us. The ending was also set up for the inevitable sequel. Now, the production budget for this film is estimated at $35 million, and I can only imagine that the marketing for this film was about $20 million. So it's got a lot of ground to make up to justify a sequel, but it's sort of set up for a sequel. Now, stick around because there are 3 mid-credit scenes which are funny, and they are worth sticking around for. If there's a director's cut and outtakes, I'd be interested in seeing those, if only to imagine a better version of this film.